Assalamu alaikum. Well, that one definitely I'm not going to translate. I'm in the translation business, but what I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be sharing some poetry, and which I will be translating. أنا لغتي وأنا معلقتان 10 هذه لغتي وهويتي الأولى. You could read the translation. It basically associates language with identity. These are the words of very well-known poet Mahmoud Darwish. And also there is the reference to mu'allaqat. Mu'allaqat, these are the hanging poems. These are the finest pieces of poetry that were written in Arab history, in pre-Islamic time, and they were hung on the Kaaba in Mecca because they were so valuable. So those are the mu'allaqat. So he's associating himself, his identity with the language and with the mu'allaqat, and that's basically what the identity that I took as growing up in Ramallah, Palestine, where language was my passion. I wrote poetry, even though I never published it and nobody saw it except the girlfriends of my friends who were asking me to write poetry for them. So those are probably the only ones that saw that poetry. I also practiced calligraphy and never really learned it in a professional way until a later date. But at the same time, I was living in a small town called Derdibwan in the Ramallah area, and that town, almost half of the population migrated or immigrate or go back and forth between that town and either the United States or South America. And the whole economic of the city or the town was based on the money that they will send out. They used to come back, build nice villas and drive the best cars and also wear nice suits and tell us stories that could find money on the streets in the United States and so on. So that was the environment I grew up in, even though I never thought about leaving that town, but because the lack of opportunity and in education and jobs and so on, I actually, even with my passion for calligraphy and art and literature, I enrolled in a vocational school to learn a trade and have a job. But then decided to go to the United States. That was the first time I leave my first home at age 18, heading to San Francisco. Okay, United States, San Francisco, here I come. Definitely I did not find any money in the street, so I start working 7 days a week in grocery stores and restaurants and going to school at the same time. Money was not enough because family and back home, they also expect some money back because now I'm in America, I'm making money, or there's a lot of money in America, so I should be sending some money back. Decided to look for the second job. The first job wasn't enough in a grocery store. Went to a restaurant and they offered me a dishwasher job. I said, great, the right hours, the amount of hours that I could work. But they said you need to come with white shirt and black pants and black shoes. I went to the apartment, I found a white shirt and black pants, but couldn't find black shoes, and I could not afford a black shoes, so I was able to afford paint. So I painted brown shoes that I had with black, and I was ready to work. Years passed, and I took courses in engineering. I hated it, didn't like it, spent most of my time in the cafeteria taking cafeteriology. I don't know if any of you know that major. It's basically discussing. And then and then dropped that major, took other courses in art and technology and things like that. So I ended up opening my own business, a graphic design firm, and that was my the first stage of my professional career. Then I got married, and now I'm not just living in a diverse environment. That San Francisco, one of the most diverse cities in America or probably in the world, but also I am living now in a diverse home. I married a Hispanic lady from El Salvador, so we are multicultural home, multilingual, from different religious backgrounds, and so on. So was there a way to handle such diversity, or is there a formula to handle such diversity? Not really. I mean, what language we should be speaking at home, we just communicated. Doesn't matter. We spoke the 3 languages to the kids. What type of food to cook. We enjoyed even creating cross-cultural dishes, and we made what we call the Palestinian papusa. This is papusa. I don't know if you know. Papusa is a Salvadorian or Latin American pie made of cheese, but we made it with za'atar, with thyme. So we made our own dish. And we volunteered at community organizations. We volunteered at mosques, at churches. Even me and a Jewish friend of mine were involved in a number of art projects. And things just happened. We never argued about what names to give the kids, or even discussing whether they should be circumcised or not. So we really, just things that flew. I mean, things that happen. We wanted them to follow their own passion and dream. And so now I have a chef in the family. One of my kids is a chef. Another one is an American football player. And another one is a soccer player wanting to be a doctor. And one is an engineering student who wants to be, he likes more of a public speaking. He's telling me, Dad, I'm gonna do a TEDx event one day. So then the second stage of my career was teaching. I went after my successful business. After my successful business, went back to school, and I did my PhD, and that this time in something that I really like. I'm passionate about language, art, and technology. And then I started teaching. I taught at American universities in California mostly, and I was teaching non-natives and also Arab Americans who kind of like rediscovered their identity. Now, living in the U.S. for almost 30 years has, affected the way I look at things. I think it affected also my identity. Now I am identifying myself more of an Arab American. This dual identity, this kind of like hybrid identity or hyphenated identity, whatever you wanna call it. It's challenging, or it was challenging, and it's best described, really, those 30 years in the U.S. described by the words of Mahmoud Darwish, the same poet. He's talking on behalf of Edward Said, a very well-known Arab American intellectual, and he's saying, "Ana min hunak, ana min huna, walastu hunak, walastu huna." I am from there, I'm from here, and I'm neither there nor here. That was really how how I felt probably most of these 30 years. Continued to work within the community, and then later drop in academia, and then also working for the corporate for corporation, and I joined Google, and that basically made me relocate to the region about 3 years ago. And the relocation itself had a challenge. I thought, now I'm going back to my own culture. I'm going closer to the roots. Things will be much, much easier. But really, it did not. I did not feel that way. Things were more challenging. At Google, for example, I'm working on languages, language services, trying to localize things that were written for a different culture into a language for another culture. And in some examples, taken from English to Arabic. But really, one of the things two things I developed after the relocations. One is how there's this common question that people in the Middle East love to ask, and most of the time is with good intention, or just to start a conversation. Where are you from? Or are you XYZ? Or where is home? And the XYZ could be anything. It's actually limitless, from nationality to race, to religion, to the sect, to the family, to the tribe, and so on, all of these. So I start saying, I'm from there, I'm from here, I'm neither there nor here. That didn't work, so I created my own virtual place called SRD or SERD, and that's really the abbreviation of 3 letters that just came like that. I never really thought about the sequence of the letters. San Francisco, where I had my education, where my family lives, and then Ramallah, where I was born and raised and have my childhood memories, and Dubai, where I am right now. So these are the 3 cities that I love, that I'm associated with, that I call home sometimes. And coincidentally, the 3 letters themselves came to be something related to the virtual world, something in role-playing games and in the virtual world in English. And in Arabic, it's the word for narrative or for tale or a story. So that became kind of like my way of identifying myself. Now, the relocation also, there are those cultural shocks, and I start calling them reverse cultural shocks. These reverse cultural shocks are worse than normal cultural shocks, because you think by going back to the roots, things are going to work, or things are very easy. And one of those reverse cultural shocks had to do with language. I came and found a whole new language that is both in written form and in spoken form. The written form was called Arabizi, or we start to be known as Arabizi, which is writing Arabic words in Latin characters mixed with numbers. Has nothing to do with the beautiful letters of Arabic and so on. And it's a language, that really, it was really hard to understand that. So I took that as kind of like a marathon for me, a place where I could influence others to start to drop that way of writing, start participating, became active on social media against this phenomena, and also start within my work, doing presentations and workshops and conferences from Morocco all the way through Egypt and Lebanon and the Gulf states and so on, and to basically encourage people to drop that way of writing and go back to writing Arabic properly. Same way in the spoken. I would, here I am working on terminology, and all I hear from people is like a sentence with 6 words. 4 of them are English. They're speaking to me in Arabic, but 4 of them are English, and not really English. They're either broken English or Arabized in a strange way. that became my, my activities is really to kind of combat that phenomenon, and whether I succeeded or not, but converting few people to going back and writing proper Arabic or speaking proper Arabic is an achievement by itself. Now going back to I'm from there, I'm from here, things have switched, there became here and here became there. Anything changed? Not really. When I'm here, I feel more like I want to be there. When I'm there, I feel like I want to be here. When I'm there, I'm treated like if I'm here, from here, and when I'm here, I'm treated like if I'm from there. So it's a loop, has not really changed, nothing changed in that area. But identity in general is people can develop multiple identities, whether it's artistic identity, and mine came from my dear mother, so that has not changed. There's the national identity, and there is the nationality, and that basically the only, I only can travel with my only passport, the American passport. And there is the identity in general, and the best way to define it, and I left the definition of identity toward the end, is what Edward Said and Mahmoud Darwish in this dialogue, Darwish is asking Said, what about identity? And he said it's a self-defense. Identity is the child of birth, but in the end, it's self-invention and not an inheritance of the past. So this is what identity should not be set in stone, carved in stone, is you develop the identity that you feel comfortable with. You embrace diversity and differences and work with that and build your own. Recently, we got blessed with a granddaughter whose mother is half German, half Native American, and now my son is half Arab Palestinian, half Salvadorian Hispanic. Now, I really don't want anyone to force or enforce a single identity on her. She should be able to take the best out of these beautiful cultures and make her own identity. And thank you very much.